All right, so I just wanted to cover an issue that I've been seeing arise more and more, and I haven't really commented on it much except in the context of Israel, but I think it warrants comment now. I've certainly commented on this disturbing trend on the part of sectors of fanatical pro-Israel sites and accounts, not to target politicians or powerful people with whom they disagree, but to target just ordinary citizens and drag them out into the spotlight and demand they be shamed and fired for doing things like putting Palestinian flags on their lapel or on their laptop or expressing criticism of Israel in some other way. They dox people, they drag them out into the light, they send hate mobs after them, and they often get them fired. And we're seeing that more and more on other issues that sector of the right is doing as well. Here is Libs of TikTok, an account that I think did some good work and I've actually praised in the past. But I think it often does, as I told the person who runs it, some things that I vehemently disagree with, one of which is this. After the Trump administration, the Trump assassination attempt, there were obviously people who said extremely stupid and grotesque things, including like, oh, I wish that bullet had just been aimed a little bit better. I wish that bullet had hit Donald Trump. I wish he had died. That's obviously repulsive and disgusting. And as I said, if somebody with power expresses that view in some public setting, obviously they ought to be held accountable and attacked and punished in some way, even if by loss of reputation or job. But that's not what's going on here. They are targeting, and not just this account, but others as well, the most powerless people in our society, just the most ordinary working class Americans who work at hourly, low-wage jobs. They stand on their feet all day doing manual labor for very little pay, very few benefits, if any, for these giant corporate conglomerates, and they're somehow demanding, for some reason, that these people be fired, even though they have no influence or power in the world. And I actually think that when a movement starts doing that, aiming itself not at the powerful people that it wants to take down but can't, but instead at the most powerless people who obviously are easy pickings. Anyone can get a Home Depot cashier fired. Home Depot will throw away anyone that's a low-level worker the minute there's even a slight amount of controversy, let alone something of this magnitude. They don't care about their workers. And that's exactly what's happening here. So here was a tweet from that account on July 14th. Hi, Home Depot, obviously marked with the Home Depot account. Are you aware that you employ people who call for political violence and the quote, and the assassination of presidents? Any comments? And here's a video of somebody going to, they found this woman with a tiny little account who did say something stupid like, oh, I wish the bullet had hit Donald Trump. And they found out where she works. She's a cashier at some department store, at some retailer. And they went there and they filmed her and they yelled at her. And then they demanded that Home Depot fire her. And when they got her fired, they celebrated as though they had achieved something noble or important or politically significant. They're not fighting the CIA, they're not fighting the Pentagon, they're not fighting people who want to take away your rights, who are imposing, they're battling against ordinary Americans who say something just ill-advised in the heat of the moment to 20 Facebook friends. Here's the video of someone being dispatched to, after tracking down this woman and finding out where she works and then going there with a video camera.
Are you Darcy Waldron?
I was Waldron, yeah.
Okay, from Cayuga? And you think that the shooter should have been a better shot? Is that what you posted on Facebook?
I am at work.
You think that the shooter should have been a shooter, huh?
I am at work.
Yeah, I think that's pretty messed up. Pretty anti-American if you ask me. As a veteran, I'm disgusted. What have you provided to this country? Huh? I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. You are ridiculous. And I'm making you famous.
All right, now, I have to say, I understand the anger. And the left, when they try and get people fired for the things they say, are genuinely angry about the opinions being expressed. They believe that it's repugnant, that it puts people in danger. They believe all those things. When they get people censored, when they get people fired. So I understand. I mean, obviously, it is a reprehensible thing to say, but she's not a news anchor or a senator or a CEO. She's a woman who's just standing there 12 hours a day working at the cashier, like the lowest level person you can find. the most powerless, the most vulnerable, the easiest to bully and get fired. She's just some woman. She has like a tiny little Facebook account. And she probably got home from a long, miserable day of work, of standing on her feet all day at that age, at that fitness level. I'm sure that's not easy. It's not a good job. It's not a fun job. It's quite miserable. And when he says, what have you ever given to this country? People who work every day in those kind of jobs are actually helping this economy run. She gets up every day and she works. It's not like she just sits at home collecting free payments, free money. She's actually working. That's contributing to society. So again, I get the anger at what she said, but to elevate this to a multi-million person mob demanding that she be fired, it's just bullying and purposeless and cruel and I think kind of cowardly. Here is a second tweet. This is what she posted on Facebook. And then again, marks Home Depot. Dolly Waldron Pickney, make this woman famous. Home Depot, Auburn. So she works in Auburn at the Home Depot. And here's the comment that she wrote. When I tell you Butler, Pennsylvania is corrupt, but nobody wants to listen after today's events, maybe people will start listening. And she added, too bad they weren't a better shooter. And 9 people replied to the original post, which is just somebody that she followed on Facebook, some Facebook friend with no reach or platform. And then her comment was up for 10 hours. It didn't get a single like or reply. This is like in the smallest, tiniest, most uninfluential corners of the internet that they're trolling for these kind of comments to bring these people out into light. For what? And then Home Depot, of course, responded because, as I said, Home Depot doesn't want any controversy, and for a low-wage cashier, they'll throw that person away for the slightest controversy, let alone a major one, and says, hi, this individual's comments don't reflect the Home Depot or our values. We can confirm that she no longer works at the Home Depot. And there was a bunch of celebration online as though some power center had finally been pierced and this gigantic tyrant had been taken down. This like 55-year-old woman who has to work at that age at a low hourly wage job for a gigantic mega corporation. Now, I actually appreciate the people who are honest about this and who say, you know what? I don't mind censorship. I'm in favor of censorship. My problem with the left is not that they censor, it's that they censor the wrong views. Because obviously that's a lot of people's views on the right. They were pretending for 10 years to believe in free speech, but in reality they wanted views censored. They were just angry when the views that they like got censored, but for people criticizing Israel in a way that they found offensive or excessive or whatever, they were happy to get those people censored, and a lot of them got censored or fired. And here's Nate Hochman, who definitely is on the right. And this is what he posted in response to this. Quote, every single society in human history has a form of, quote, cancel culture. Stigmas and social consequences for violating them are the basis of civilization itself. The debate isn't over whether, quote, cancel culture should exist. It should. It's over which things should be canceled. And then, presumably, which things should not. And if people on the right had just said that all along instead of pretending that they were against cancel culture, against censorship as a principle, and just said, look, what we're angry at the left for is that they're censoring and canceling the wrong people and the wrong ideas, I would oppose that, but at least I wouldn't find the stench of their hypocrisy so nauseating as I do. That's being honest and candid about what they really think, and I wish so much more many people on the right would think that, would admit that that's what they think, since they so obviously do. The tweet to which he was responding, by the way, is from Colin Wright, who said, quote, being against, quote, cancel cultures matters most when you have the power to cancel. As the political right gains more cultural and political power, it's important to remain principled. In other words, he's saying, like, canceling is a thing that powerless people do. Oh, wow, we got this, like, construction worker fired because we think he flashed an okay sign at a stoplight. We don't want to know the context, what he really believes. If he's actually a bad person, we just want him fired. And when we get him fired, we're going to cheer. Because it's the only way a weak movement can get power is by aiming at powerless people. and destroying them. Anyone can do that. That's so easy and it's so purposeless. And so what Colin Wright was saying is like, look, if you're against cancel culture, it matters the most, not when you're powerless, but when you have, not when you're the target of cancellation, but when you gain power. That's when it matters to say, I'm still against censorship and still against cancellation, even though I'm now the one who can do it because I'm the one with power. And then you have Nate Hochman saying, no, I don't agree with that. I think when we get power, we should use it to censor and cancel people. Because the problem with cancellation isn't it in and of itself, it's just that the wrong people were being canceled. Now, here is this account called Stop Anti-Semitism that has grown massively in popularity among the pro-Israel right since October 7th, because what they've been doing almost on an everyday basis is identifying just ordinary citizens, totally powerless people, workers, students, at just community colleges, wherever. Just people send them pictures of ordinary people on the street, and they post pictures of them for the crime of having a sticker that's pro-Palestinian or putting something on their social media that's anti-Israel. And they post their picture with the specific intention of urging people to tell them the names of those people and find out everything that they can. And then they do. And they post the person's name and where they work. And then they encourage people to go and get them fired. And they have gotten them fired many, many times. Again, we're talking about totally ordinary people whose only crime is just existing in the United States. And the cowardice of this account makes me particularly sick, since the whole account exists to do nothing but drag ordinary people into the spotlight, dox them, post their name where they work, all while the coward who's behind this account remains anonymous, hiding under the name Stop Anti-Semitism. So just to give you an example of the kind of thing they've been doing, here in January of this year, quote, Miami, a woman with a Palestine sticker on her laptop was spotted at Motek, one of the most popular Israeli eateries in South Florida. Some patrons were extremely bothered by her and the Palestinian sticker. Would you be? And then they posted a picture. She's just a woman sitting there. Now, they say, oh, this is a cafe that a lot of Israelis go to, and I'm sorry to say that because it's in Florida, it's not an Israeli cafe. It's an American cafe. All the free speech rights apply to cafes inside the United States, regardless of whether a lot of people who love Israel go there or not. You're still allowed to express your views. And what she was guilty of is she has a bunch of political stickers on her laptop. She has the rainbow flag. You can pretty much tell who she is and what she's like. Not a person I probably would like or have any political affinity with, although, except in this one area. But her big crime is she just has a Palestinian flag on her laptop. And for that, this account dragged her into the spotlight, got her name all over the place. And she wasn't doing anything, just sitting there working on her laptop. You're allowed to be an American citizen and put whatever sticker you want on a laptop, whatever flag of any foreign country. You can have an Israeli flag, you can have a Peruvian flag, a South Korean flag, a Palestinian flag, whatever you want. That's your right as an American. Another thing they recently did is that they had someone who took a picture of this flight attendant on a Delta flight. And his crime was that he had a tiny little Palestinian flag. You can barely see it. It's right there. And the policy of Delta was that flight attendants could put on whatever flags they wanted. Because obviously when you work with an airline, part of the idea is you connect the world. A lot of people who work for Delta come from other countries. They have Italian flags or Irish flags or Indian flags or Israeli flags. And no one ever minded until this account doxed this flight attendant who committed the crime of wearing a Palestinian flag, which might offend people who are pro-Israel. It might scare them. And this account said, hey, Delta, did you add Palestine as a new summer route? Your customers on a Boston to West Palm Beach flight yesterday were perplexed to see your flight attendant adorning a flag of Palestine pin. And then they, of course, doxed him. They found out his name. They said, it appears this is the flight attendant. They found his Instagram account, just to say his Instagram account was instantly, you're talking about a flight attendant who was doing nothing wrong, even according to his own company's rules, which allowed a flag to be used for any country. And they flooded it with all kinds of hate messages, and then Delta changed their entire policy simply because certain people who love Israel inside of the United States didn't like their policy. Quote, update, effective July 15, 2024, Delta flight attendants will only be permitted to wear U.S. flag pins on their uniforms. Stop Anti-Semitism welcomes the policy change and encourages other U.S.-based airlines to follow suit. Just constricting more and more the ability of workers to express themselves in accordance with their company's rules. Here's another example that from this account, this prospective Vanderbilt U students and parents were shocked to see undergraduate admissions counselor Brianna Grimes sported kaifa during an information session yesterday. Grimes oversees admission for numerous states, including New York for Vanderbilt. How can someone like Grimes be trusted to make fair and equitable decisions when reviewing the applications of Jewish students? And there you see her. So obviously they would not, even though it's exactly the same thing, take a picture of an admissions person wearing a gigantic Star of David or an Israeli American flags on their label and say, how could this admissions counselor possibly be fair to Muslim or Arab students applying? This is an account existing solely to prevent American citizens, ordinary ones with no power, from expressing pro-Palestinian or anti-Israeli views, to destroy the free speech and rights of free expression of ordinary citizens to protect this foreign country, and they've been cheered by it, by so many people on the right who have been screaming for years about cancel culture, about people being fired for their views. And we could spend all night showing you these kind of examples. So, and there's been so many others with people who said those sorts of things about President Trump, who people are on a witch hunt after. Now, again, I'm not obviously defending anyone who said those sorts of things about Donald Trump. In fact, I'm saying specifically that those things are repugnant. But the idea that any kind of political movement would devote itself to destroying the life of some random worker, when you have no idea why they said it, maybe they were angry, they used the internet to blow off steam like a lot of people do. They're speaking to 15, 20 people. And I think that is a very dark turn for a movement to take, to start trying to destroy ordinary citizens for even expressing offensive views. Confine yourself to people with power. Go confront courageously actual institutions of authority that influence other people. Stay out of the lives of hourly wage workers and stop sending gigantic hate mobs to them, to their house, to their workplace, to their email, to their inbox, and trying to get them fired. It's pathetic. It's pathetic bullying designed to make weak people feel strong, and it accomplishes absolutely nothing.